Sure. Kaboom.
I know many people find Luxo Jr.'s booty shake all cute and stuff, but I think he or she is just obnoxiously waving their shiny metal ass in my face after taking 45 seconds to get through just 2 logos.
Listen, I know you're trying to say new things about these logos so you don't just say X seconds of logos over and over again, but that still doesn't disqualify it from you wasting our time by pointing out logos, as if we can't see that.
Grilly, go, Gruff, raise the blinds.
I mean, the blinds are right there, and Woody and Peep aren't doing anything else. Wouldn't it be easier to just do it yourself? Or did you need a quick character introduction joke for a 3-headed sheep?
What is this, Sin? What does it matter that the sheep pull the blinds down? Would the movie really have been better if Woody or Bo did it? A lot of people hate this movie, but this is not one of the reasons why. You are just being nitpicky, and that's what makes these videos so annoying.
Barrel of Ex Machinus?
Wow, this might be the earliest Deus Ex Machina ever. No, this is not a solution to a problem that came from nowhere. The previous 3 films have told you that Andy has this barrel of monkeys, so this movie isn't pulling them out of thin air.
Sometimes they get left in the yard or put in the wrong box.
And that box gets taken away.
And then the new owners see the toy and tell the previous owner, hey, I think you accidentally put Andy's toy in here. And then that toy is returned. This is why brains are important.
Or they might think that they're being given an extra toy as an extra sign of kindness. Not to mention, Woody would still be able to get back. Need I remind you that toys are independent in this world?
Andy put Woody on his bed with the rest of the toys, but finds him in the driveway in the rain. I'm guessing that finding Woody in unexpected places has been a recurring mystery in his childhood. How has he never questioned this phenomenon?
You literally just answered your own question. This has happened countless times, so at this point, Andy is pretty much used to this.
We've gone back 9 years to revisit Andy's childhood when we already left his childhood in the previous movie. How many nostalgic playing with my Woody moments do we really need?
I'm confused by what your point is. You first say that this movie flashed back 9 years ago, mention that we already left Andy's childhood in the last movie, and then ask how many times should we see Andy playing with Woody? What does the opening prologue have to do with your statement about seeing this montage? And also, the movie showed you that flashback to remind you about Bo Peep, therefore you keep her in mind when she shows up later.
Also, don't let the nostalgic crack of Randy Newman singing You've Got a Friend in Me distract you from the fact that this is basically an overlong credit sequence that amounts to those catch-up montages Netflix shows you when a new season of your favorite show drops.
So this is like whenever CinemaSins sends the previously on segments in those videos. Let me remind you that this movie came out 9 years after Toy Story 3, and some people's memories can be foggy, so the refresher is needed just to be safe.
Hey, Woody, here!
But shouldn't Jesse leave that on since Bonnie put it that way? As concerned as they seem to be about getting caught, you'd think they might not want to make obvious changes like that. And sure, a 5-year-old probably won't remember, and no one would believe them if they did, but why risk it?
Jeremy just answered his own question.
And sure, a 5-year-old probably won't remember. Ah yes, a trick. I'm sure this will happen many more times in this movie. So let's just add 10 sins for the someone should absolutely notice this moving toy beneath or beside it bull.
Yes, because the kids or teachers would totally look down at the cabinets where the backpacks are. Not to mention Woody is moving as fast as he can, so I can believe nobody would notice him.
Why does he want to go to the trash?
Because he was made from trash.
I mean, sure, and you were likely made from Taiwanese plastic, but I don't see you subconsciously booking a flight to Taipei. Plus, Buzz woke up with a full awareness of his toy's backstory and catchphrases, so I think the sentience rules in this universe remain unclear.
So I don't disagree that the rules of sentience in these movies can be a little confusing at times, but what I find strange is that you bring up the fact that when Buzz first arrived, he didn't realize he was a toy and thought he was a real space ranger, and somehow compare that to Forky, saying that's somehow inconsistent. Except Forky was made out of trash, so believes he is trash, which sounds more like Buzz to me. So I don't know why bringing him up supports your point.
When she started playing with him, she had the biggest smile on her face.
How is Forky's mouth clay staying attached to his face? And how is he able to shape it into different expressions on the fly?
How is Woody's mouth able to move fine? How are Mr. Potato Head's parts able to move even though they're not attached to a potato? How are toys able to come to life in the first place? Dude, this world is already unrealistic. Stop asking these kinds of questions like people care.
You need help with him on the road trip?
Why would Woody be going on the road trip? Bonnie said,
I'm gonna bring Dolly and Buttercup and Forky Forky?
And Woody isn't mentioned, which isn't a surprise considering they've already established that Woody isn't her favorite toy right now.
This movie made over $1 billion. Are you really going to manipulate the scene of a movie that clearly lots of people have seen? You realize that's disrespectful, right? The reason why Bonnie mentioned just those 3 toys is because she stopped herself when she realized she couldn't find Forky.
Who wants to go on a road trip?
Me! I'm gonna bring Dolly and Buttercup and Forky and... Forky? Where are you?
Even if she didn't plan on taking Woody, he can literally just sneak on the RV anyway because toys are independent.
What is Bonnie doing right now? She leaves the trailer and immediately comes back. Is it because she doesn't know how to use the camera? Or is the movie saying she jumped out of an RV, snapped a photo of the canyon, then ran back to the vehicle in under 3 seconds? Mind you, she is a Kodak Cliff, can barely see over the wall, and is maybe 6 or 7 years old. Where are her goddamn parents?
Maybe she realized that the camera's batteries are dead and she needs to get new ones. And did you seriously just ask where her parents are? They are obviously inside the RV.
This is an abduction, and this fork is either going to learn to love its captors or get mad enough to stab someone. I'm game for the second.
You do realize that the movie itself is aware that Woody is being selfish here, right? We later learn that the reason why he wants to bring Forky back to Bonnie is because it's all he has left, and he's trying to cling to his kid, even though Bonnie doesn't care about him. And Bo Peep even calls him out on this.
I swear the last 5 minutes of this movie has been comprised of Forky getting lost, people looking for him, then finding him in some random spot that makes no sense, and nobody questioning how he got there.
I swear this video is just Jeremy pointing things out on the screen and somehow not realizing that this is not a sin, nor is it even a joke. I thought CinemaSins was satire.
I know you weren't around when Andy was little, but I don't remember it being this hard.
Were you in charge of Andy? Was Andy a newly sentient fork whose sole purpose was to throw himself in the trash? How are the two things even comparable?
He means having to watch over a kid, which he did to Andy and is now trying to do with Bonnie. Again, this is Woody trying his best to recapture the same feelings he had with his previous owner, but it's just not quite there, setting up his decision at the end.
The voice inside of you, who do you think it is?
Is Buzz still an idiot? Because he certainly should know a common figure of speech like this by now. Force B plot has to force its B in my plot, I guess.
Actually, I agree. I'm one of the only people on the planet that likes this movie and think it's incredibly overhated, but even I don't like the way this movie downgraded Buzz into a weird running joke. This is one of the reasons I was excited for Lightyear, and then... Never mind, I'm getting off topic here. The point is, remove a sin, darn it!
I am not a toy. I'm a spork. Be quiet. I was made for soup, salad, maybe chili, and then the trash.
The ramifications of Forky having an awareness of his purpose even before he became sentient are terrifying. This means on some level your toilet paper is sentient and well aware of the it's about to go through.
But when Buzz first arrived, he thought he was a real space ranger, so this is just playing into that continuity.
I never thought I'd see an animated version of The Road, but here we are.
Jeremy makes a pop culture reference.
Oh no, there's light coming from that window behind me. I better pause dramatically and take a look back. I know it seems like an everyday thing that wouldn't catch anyone's attention, but what if there is an important plot turn that needed to happen?
These lights look very similar to the lights from Bo Peep's lamp, and Woody remembered that and was curious to see if that's really what it was.
Once he goes in this mail slot, he has no plan on how to get back out again. Believe me, everyone needs an escape plan when antiquing.
He'll just go back through the mail slot? That was easy.
Is that Bo?
Movie is great news for the throng of people who thought the one thing the Toy Story universe needed was jump scares and an Annabelle vibe.
Are you pretending that the previous movie didn't have jump scares? This was the same guy who said he didn't need a refresher of the previous movies, remember?
The slingshot maneuver is all we've got. Full speed ahead.
Very specific instructional recording in a toy is strangely specific and instructional.
Except if you did even an ounce of research, you know that a slingshot maneuver is a real thing in space travel and has been used multiple times in real life. I'm sure a space toy would have this knowledge.
Hello, Mr. Cowboy. How are you today?
Of all the carnival and RV parks and all the towns and all the world, Woody just happens to stumble into Bo, and not just any Bo Peep, the Bo Peep.
So what?
Are discarded playground toys a thing? I mean, I found a shovel in the sandbox once, but never anything of substance. Of course, it's quite possible I was too busy applying salve on my third-degree burns from sliding down the metal slide to notice, so we'll just make this sin about public playgrounds in general.
Yes, this is a real thing. Again, you could have researched this, but nah, too hard, right? You already have millions of subscribers anyway.
I'll hand it to you. The Frisbee definitely blocks one side of the world from seeing you, but not the other.
None of these kids are currently looking directly at the Frisbee. Why does this matter, except for you just pointlessly nitpicking?
I've been practicing. How do I look?
Practicing for what? Tea time? But if she's playing with you, you can't be doing any motions, right? So again, I inquire, practicing for what?
For herself. She obviously doesn't expect to do this in front of Harmony.
When my voice box is fixed.
So why don't you just remove your broken voice box and talk with your voice you're using now? As the first Toy Story demonstrated, humans can hear you, just like when you were talking to your toy friends. So why not just act like a toy but speak when your string is pulled? And if you really want to fool people who think your voice is too real, you can simply disconnect the voice box so that if anyone checks to see if you have one, they'll see it in there and ask no further questions unless they're a sicko.
I'm guessing you're referencing the first movie when Woody was using his voice box to talk to Sid, but I'll remind you that his voice box wasn't broken in that scene. If Gabby Gabby did what you're suggesting, she'd have to physically open her mouth, which would freak Harmony out. This is a stupid sin.
Trust me, I've been there. You know about me and He-Man. I'm not proud.
Movie hints at a Giggles He-Man hookup without sharing any of the graphic details, and I, for one, am dissatisfied.
The implications of this sin are worrying.
What you looking at, Sheriff?
Yeah, Woody, how's the bow peeping? Woody.
Jeremy makes a pop culture reference.
Who are these guys?
Well, Woody, they're additional secondary comic relief characters to help an established property feel fresh and younger. In the industry, it's known as pulling a poochie. Granted, they are a hilarious poochie to pull, but a poochie has been pulled nonetheless.
Oh no, a sequel is introducing new characters. We better sin that as if that's not a normal thing.
Go back in time and warn Woody about the
That's
future.
crazy. I'm a flat circle.
Was that a True Detective reference in a kid's movie? Because I think that was a True Detective reference in a kid's movie.
Wait a minute, so to sin for the movie to make a pop culture reference? Why does that seem ironic to me? I can't quite put my finger on it.
Okay, Pixar's just showing off now, because that is basically a photorealistic cat. Part of me wants to take off some sins for this incredible digital artistry, but the larger part of me is instead going to sin it because why do cats need to look real? But the humans still look like clumps of plasticine with facial features attached.
Are you saying you want Pixar to make the humans in this movie look photorealistic? That's how you get Polar Express.
Also, I was thinking about Mrs. Potato Head and her eyeball. If she had to have a replacement eyeball, does that mean that she'd be looking out of another potato's eyes? Or does it acclimate to her toy spirit after being pressed into her eye socket? Is there a Wiki page for this?
This is the most random thought I've ever heard that is only tangentially related to this movie, and it's pretty stupid too. If Mrs. Potato Head got a replacement eye, that wouldn't work because she'd still see through that missing eye and another Potato Head's eye would be missing. It's literally that simple.
What are we doing?
Shh. Just stand there and be quiet.
Why is Bo so insistent on not making a peep about her plan? In the real world, plans work better when you communicate them to the others involved. But in movies, characters are left in the dark for maximum delayed discovery emotional impact. This, as it continues to remind us, is a movie.
Except you skipped over why Bo is annoyed here. Woody tried to save Forky, which led to Bo's sheep getting captured, and she's pissed about this. I noticed you didn't show that scene, and I will point out again that this movie made over $1 billion. You really think people aren't going to notice this obvious lie?
Woody, me.
Duke Kaboom, Canada's greatest stuntman.
Yes, I love Keanu too, and Duke is a blast in this, but
Sinning Keanu Reeves for being in this movie.
I had a kid. Jean was so excited when he got me after Christmas.
another kid not playing with a toy anymore guilt trip. More like a guilt skip, am I right?
I'll point out that unlike the previous two movies where the flashback was played as a sad scene, this is played for comedy, so it's not exactly the same.
But when Rajan realized I couldn't jump as far as the toy in the commercial.
After one try?
That's the joke.
Got a ride.
Yes.
So can Woody choose which recording plays when he fingers his ring and tugs his string? Or is his randomizer calibrated for maximum convenience?
Seriously? This has been a thing since the first movie. How is it you just noticed this after 4 films?
One of the many things that irritate me about scenes like this is that I am so distracted by this impossible jump that I can't focus on what the movie wants me to be thinking, which has something to do with wanting to bang a hot toy.
How is this jump impossible? And even if it is, this is a cartoon where toys come to life, so you really should suspend your disbelief. Also, this sentence.
Which has something to do with wanting to bang a hot toy. This customer is not only buying this wooden duck, but she is very intently examining its backside. This woman's duck obsession has me intrigued enough that I demand the movie follow that story to its completion or face the consequences.
This is why this video is 14 minutes long.
You're my favorite deputy.
Let's talk about pull string mechanics briefly, shall we?
No, we shall not. You are once again about to question realism in a movie where toys come to life, and I'm not here for that.
I'm not so heartless that I wanted Bo and her sheep to shatter here, but those sheep should be porcelain dust, and we all know it.
Jeremy ignores that in this very shot you can see one of the feet broke off.
It's okay. Any minute now, Bonnie will notice her backpack is missing.
You good, Bonnie?
Yep.
Kids.
Hold on, you've been questioning this movie for being supposedly unrealistic, but when something realistic happens, like a kid forgetting her backpack, you sin it anyway? Do you want this movie to be realistic or not?
Forky! Mom, I found him!
For f***'s sake, I know stuff always ends up in weird spots all the time, and nobody ever questions it because the alternative is to think toys are alive, but this backpack was probably searched 100 times before Bonnie's parents gave up and Jesse flattened the tire.
What? Did you just suggest that the parents have been searching for this backpack 100 times before this, even though they didn't even know that it was left here until Buzz reminded Bonnie about it in the RV?
Too many people. Gonna need an alternate route.
So let's definitely do something impossible, like going on the carousel and making Duke Kaboom try a 40-foot jump. That's a lot easier than some other things we could take 5 minutes to think about.
Are you gonna offer any alternatives? No?
Recalculating! Take a right!
Knowing where to draw the line on your suspension of disbelief is difficult in talking toy movies, but I'm going to go ahead and draw it somewhere before human believes a completely different voice that doesn't match his GPS screen and also is coming from near his feet instead of the speakers.
This coming from you is hilarious. You have drawn the line at arbitrary points so many freaking times throughout all these videos, and the fact that you don't remember that is just baffling.
Another right!
Right! Take another right!
How does Bonnie's dad hear Mrs. Rex from below but not Buzz from above? If he can hear toys yelling at his feet, shouldn't he be able to hear one yelling that's actually much closer to his ear holes?
Her name is Trixie, not Mrs. Rex. Also, the window above them is closed, so I can believe that the dad couldn't hear Buzz. Also, the movie sin counter text disappears for a bit. You have millions of subscribers. I think you have less of an excuse for making mistakes like this.
When all else fails, murder the humans in a horrible vehicular accident. Toy assholes are adorable.
No, Buttercup wants the dad to go to jail, which was a running joke throughout this movie. Not that this debunks your point, but the sin is for you using the wrong words.
I wouldn't trust this little girl, Mom and Dad, since you're at a carnival and Jordan Peele is a voice in this movie. It could be her doppelganger.
Jeremy makes a pop culture reference that isn't a sin of the movie cliche. Or at least, I think that's what he's doing here. Do you guys know what he's referencing?
You've got to be kidding me!
The toys have sown the seeds of distrust in this vehicle so much, it's a sin to drive this trailer home afterwards.
How else would you suggest they get back home? And I'd imagine when they get back, the dad will get rid of it.
Listen to your inner voice.
Speaking of which, during the horrific surgery scene, why didn't the ventriloquist hooligans let Woody keep his pull string and box components? Gabby showed that most of hers was intact and fine, just one piece wasn't working. If Woody had kept his, he could maybe have it replaced someday.
Do you think that would matter? A voice box isn't that important anyway.
I'd give 1,000 sins off if Bonnie said, "Where's Woody?" right now.
So, you would have removed 1,000 sins if Bonnie went against her own character by caring about Woody? Okay.
He left Bullseye? He left Bullseye? I mean, I can almost get on board with everything else, but there's no way Woody wouldn't have had Bullseye come with it. That breaks the cowboy code. Stallions before galleons, or something.
The reason why Woody left is because he realized his role as a toy that cares for one kid is done, because Bonnie doesn't care about him the same way Andy did, so he's going off to help other toys get kids of their own. Bullseye was being played with Bonnie earlier in the movie, so she definitely would have noticed him being gone.
Do you really have laser eyes?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Forced Keanu.
You know what these sins are for.
To infinity